Hi guys, welcome. This is my review of Stray. As you know, I've had a playthrough of the game, so I just wanted to kind of go over what it was like, how I found it, the graphics, the sound, the story, and kind of everything that was involved in kind of my playthrough. So, welcome, thank you for joining me, and let's get to it. Okay, so graphically wise, I had the settings, first I had them set to high, but I was encountering some small little glitches here and there, so I turned them down to medium. This was mainly because of the rig that I'm using. I'm using a RTX 3060 on an 11th gen Intel i5, and I'm using it on an Asus TUF-F15 laptop. So kind of with the gameplay running, audio recording and screen capture recording, it kind of is quite taxing for my laptop. I could kind of use it on those graphical settings set to high, everything set to high, but I was encountering some frame rate issues, which is why I switched it to medium. So, if you're using a similar laptop and you're not recording, you're just using gameplay, I think it'd be perfectly fine running on high on all the settings, to be honest. And obviously if you're playing it on console, no issues there, just crack on. Even on medium, I thought it looked great. The shadows, the lighting, the reflections, I think it did look good. Obviously it's always going to look better if everything's set to really high. I think the differences really were neither here nor there. So yeah, that was kind of what it was like graphically wise and what I was using. So as you can see from the game footage that I've got, that you're kind of watching as you're listening to me drone on, you can kind of see the environment and the kind of where it's set, the atmosphere, and I think they did an amazing job in the aesthetic of the game, which I did mention as I was doing the playthrough. I thought it had an amazing aesthetic, and I still do. As you kind of go through, you see the grime and the grit, the NPCs doing their thing, and it just feels like a really lived in, like worked in city. Obviously, there's no humans around, it's just robots, androids, whatever you want to call them, and a cat. And obviously the baddies, these kind of slug slash rat slash gooey kind of creatures. As you're kind of going through just the little alleys and the streets, and you're climbing on top of rooftops and squeezing in and out of things, you get that real sense that it's just really grimy and dirty, and robots don't really care about having it particularly clean. They're just very doing their own thing. So yeah, I think they've done a really good job in building that aesthetic and that almost kind of cyberpunk, future-esque city that's kind of been lived in and really used and, not particularly looked after, especially when you're not in the major city. Really interesting, really good looking, and worth exploring as well. So the sound of the game, kind of as you're running through the streets, you can hear NPCs, robots sleep glorping around you and stuff, and you can hear cleaning trucks, and when you kind of run through the streets, you're kicking up, bits of paper and running through boxes, and you're hitting cans. All these sounds are really high quality, they come across really well, and I think it adds to the overall ambience of the city with that lived-in feel. You can almost smell the smells of that city as you're running around. It is so detailed. The type of game that it is, it's not specifically open world, but there are open world elements to it. Some of it's kind of on rails, linear gameplay, other bits is where you're kind of more exploring your environment that you're in a particular area, but all the bits, they've taken great care. So when you are exploring and running around, there is definitely tons to see and interact with, even if it's just knocking over things. And also the cinematics, there's a few of them, like spread throughout the game to kind of cut scenes from one bit to the next. Graphically wise, they're very similar to the actual gameplay, so they're not really that different. Obviously they probably run a bit smoother, a bit more polished, but overall I'd say, as you kind of play in the game and then you transition into a cutscene, graphically wise, it's pretty much the same. Very cinematic and really well done. Thought they added a lot to the game and the story, and they kind of moved it along nicely. So as you're kind of playing through the game, you'll notice that there are things to collect. There are kind of NPCs to interact with. They'll kind of direct you in specific places or to go and get something. And there'll be kind of little puzzles to solve in the game itself as well. And they're quite fun and quite interesting, and they add just another layer to the game and something else to do in it. And they kind of also help you explore the environment that you just happen to be in, whether that's, small streets or a bigger city or town area or sewers or whatever it is, you kind of do find yourself in different areas in the game doing things like that, so that's really fun and interesting, and something to look forward to if you decide to play it. Thank you for joining me on my quick review of Stray. Obviously, feel free to watch my playthrough. It's 8 episodes long, and you can find it on my channel. I give you a better idea of what the game's like, and what you do, and what you can do, and what it looks like, etc. So as always, like if you like it, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. See you later!